I want to thank my mommy so much because I don't think she even, the day of the wedding, will even realize how much she's done to make this as wonderful of an event for not just me and Joseph, but for everyone attending. She has thought of everything and stayed up till 2:30, even when Dad's yelling at her to go to bed and to stop working. She's still working hard, and I can't tell my mom how much I appreciate it, because I know it's all because of how much she loves me, and it's a direct reflection of that. And I am so happy to have such a hardworking and awesome mother. And I want to thank my daddy for not killing her through the process of doing all of this, because she's vital. She's vital to this wedding, and I'm glad he got to spend some time at the ranch and just go have fun and let Mom do her amazing thing, because this weekend is going to be awesome.
I've been trying to prepare myself for this moment because I'm a pretty emotional guy, and I know whenever she comes out of that little building and I'm standing up there with all of my best buddies and my brother and Chelsea's brother and all of her friends, and standing up in front of the most important people in my life, I wouldn't have it any other way. I know that she's going to look more beautiful than she's ever looked before, and that she's doing all of that for me, and I just can't wait for that moment. And I hope I've prepared myself enough for that moment, because it's going to be something else. I know it is.
The second we both see each other, it's going to be waterworks for all. Just because we've had so much going on recently, it's hard for us to kind of actually think and wrap our head around what's happening. And obviously we're getting married, but we haven't thought about what's it going to be like to see you in your dress. What's your dress going to look like? So I think it's going to be an emotional / sensory overload almost whenever we first see each other. And I think by the time I get down the aisle, maybe it will have calmed, hopefully, or else our pastor might just have to hang out for a little while. But it'll definitely be a good moment, because I feel like even though people don't understand, it's been very fast for some people. We've only been dating for a year and engaged for 6 months, but for us, it's been a lot longer as friends and as a couple, and we've been through a whole lot. We've shoved a couple years worth into 6 months, so I think for it to actually be the day of and be something that we were so excited about and so ready for, it's going to be really emotional. It's going to be bad.
I guess the first time I saw her in person was probably in London, crazy enough, being that we both went to A&M. But she definitely caught my eye. And
so I would have to say my first impression was, that guy seems fun. He had a big old group. It was a trip of 80, but there were only 16 guys. So he kind of had the man group, and they were just loud and ready to start a study abroad trip, and we were all kind of like, all right, we're just gonna follow them. They seem like they're going to the right place.
On our study abroad trip, she was definitely an independent woman. She was strong, had a huge personality, and was definitely a little bit intimidating to somebody like me. But I made the effort to, be friends, and we got to know each other a little bit on the trip, and got to know each other a lot better throughout our senior year and before I took off to Lubbock for law school.
Well, Joseph and I spent our entire senior year after our study abroad trip hanging out with a couple of groups of friends, and just getting through our last year of college together. And then everyone graduated in May, and all of my close friends went off to work and went off to get jobs, and he had a few friends who were still in town for the summer, but really most people left, and it was just a handful of us before I started grad school and while he was there at home. And so we all started hanging out a lot more often, because it was just, you're down to numbers at that point. There's only 5 people left almost. So we spent a lot of time together that summer after the senior year, and I think over that is when I got to know him a lot better and to see more of the genuine, real him. And I think it was almost too late. It was to the point where he was about to go to law school, whatever. I think we both really realized how perfect we were for each other. And then we realized that I was staying in College Station and he was going to Lubbock for 3 years. So I think the very end of that summer was probably the point that I knew me and this guy's perfect.
Oh, my life has changed drastically since I met Chelsea, and it's all been for the better. first of all, I feel like I've grown up a lot since leaving College Station and heading to Lubbock to go to law school. But a year ago, I figured about this time I'd be graduating and trying to find a job and supporting myself. And now I'm getting married tomorrow, and I have somebody to be there with me. And as one of my law school roommates said, to be my co-pilot for life. And she's done awesome things for my life. She's pushed me to be a better person spiritually. Chelsea and I we went through marriage counseling with Brian, and or premarital counseling with Brian, our pastor, and he showed me, and Chelsea showed me that I needed to step up and be the spiritual leader for our family. And Chelsea's given me the courage and strength to know that I can be that person. And she's also, no matter what, she's given me encouragement, and she believes in me in all my endeavors with school, with my future career, and with our relationship. And her positivity and happiness will brighten up anybody's world, and that's what she's done for me.
My life has gotten a lot more interesting. I've driven a whole lot more than I ever planned to, but really it's changed in the sense that I've grown closer to a lot of things that I wish I had earlier probably. I've been a very proud person my whole life, and I think being with him and seeing that characteristics I mentioned about how he's just the first to say, "You're right, it's my bad," has made me in this more similar way. It's a lot easier to not blame someone else whenever you can see that going on with someone else so close to you. So he's definitely opened my eyes a lot more to priorities in life. I think being young in general, you just forget what really matters, and he makes me realize that every day. So
I knew that she was a special person that summer, but after I moved to Lubbock and we stayed in touch, and I grew up a little bit, I guess, I figured out what kind of person that I wanted to be with, and I figured out that Chelsea was that exact person. And that's whenever I decided that I needed to let her know how I felt about her, and I just had to hope that she felt the same way about me.
He proposed in December, this past December, and apparently, actually, he had been planning the proposal for a while. I was one of those girls who wasn't super aware of that. I used to work at a jewelry store, and I have really lifelong great friends from that working experience. And I had gone in October or sometime before then to College Station without him. He was in school, and I stayed with a friend that I used to work with, and we were talking, and she was like, "And you and Joseph are pretty serious, what are you thinking?" And we were kind of going back and forth, and I wasn't thinking of it, but apparently he'd already contacted her about the ring and how he's gonna get that started, so she was pretty sneaky.
She worked at David Gardner's, and I did some sneaking around and figured out who her friends were there, and got in touch with them, and they helped me figure out what kind of ring she liked, and helped me get all that picked out. Had help from my mom and my sister, and from Micah. And over Thanksgiving, actually, we were in town to go to the A&M UT game and visit my family. And my dad, my brother, and I went truck shopping, and we actually went to the diamond store to go pick out a ring, and did all that, and it was fun having both of them there. And
he designed the ring and kept everything from me for months, and talked to my parents, obviously, and his own. And December came around, and he was finished with finals, which is usually a big time for us. Huge celebration. So he came to Dallas after finishing finals to celebrate that being over and my birthday.
I knew she was expecting an engagement soon, but I know she wasn't expecting it in December. We had both just kind of talked about getting engaged, about when I'm finishing law school, which was last Saturday. And so I was finishing school up, and that middle of the week, and Chelsea's birthday was on a Friday or Saturday, I think. And so I told her that I was going to come to town right after I got done with school and take her out to a nice dinner.
We decided to go out to the Gaylord in Grapevine and see the huge atrium done up with Christmas lights, and they have a huge ice sculpture. It's almost like an exhibit all the way throughout the place that's always themed and has a nativity scene, and it's just gorgeous. So we'd never seen that, and we just heard of it. So we went out there, and I chose to wear some beautiful brand new boots that were gorgeous but very uncomfortable. And it's a long walk. If you haven't been to the Gaylord, it's large and it's a lot of walking and it's a lot of doing. So I was definitely being a little whiny about my awesome boots that were very, very gorgeous. And I'm glad they were there because they're in good pictures now forever. But he let me sit down on a bench, and I thought, uh-oh, now I'm in trouble, because we had to stop looking around because I had to sit down because I'm whining. And we sat there for a while, and he was kind of quiet, and he's not usually really a quiet person. So I thought, I'm in big trouble. Like, here it comes. And then he actually said he had something for me.
I got down on one knee and barely could get out any words, but I definitely caught her by surprise. I had a nice dinner planned, and she was definitely surprised and just wanted to go home. And she just she was just taken over by emotion. So it was a really fun night.
And he proposed, and he actually pulled out his Aggie ring box, because it was smaller and it fit in his coat pocket. And I was like, now I'm really confused what's going on. And then he opened it, and it was this gorgeous custom-made ring that was obviously, from the store I worked in and from everyone I loved had worked on it. And it was just too much. And it took me about 45 minutes to recover after thinking I was in trouble, to getting engaged, to being overwhelmed. So it was just a hot mess, but really cute boots in our pictures for life. So that's worth it.
And then the next morning, we got up early and headed to Corpus to go celebrate with everybody, and so that was it couldn't have been any better.
Joseph is a gentleman, and I don't say that in like the normal, he says yes ma'am and no ma'am. He's truly a gentleman in the sense of he just acts with kindness and he serves with kindness, and it's in a really mature level that's hard to explain, especially with guys. I mean, you don't usually see it in guys to the point of just saying, that was my fault, I'm sorry, up front, and here's what I'm going to do, and let's do this instead. And he's just really has the biggest heart, and he's such a gentleman in that sense of, we're going to make this better, and here's how. And if it's my bad, it's my bad, and if it's yours, I'll forgive you. But he's just got a huge heart, and that was the turning point, I think, is seeing that in him.
Part of the reason that we're so perfect for each other is we both have a lot of the same interests. So we both love being outdoors. We both love to go to the lake, go wakeboarding, go skiing, and we both love to go hunting. And our families are both very similar.
Wonderfully. He's got one of those personalities that can pretty much go up and down and fit in well, but specifically for us, for everything that we do, I mean, the first time he met my father, he drove from Lubbock to our family ranch a night early, and I didn't make it into town that night, so it was just my dad and Joseph at the ranch for an evening. First time ever to spend any time with him. And of course I get there, and he's got a matching set of work gloves with dad, and they're out pitching cedar and getting ice cream, and it was just totally normal from day one. So I didn't have to worry that much. But I mean, ever since, it's been us going up with his family to the lake, or him coming out with my family to the ranch, and it's just kind of like two perfect lives together, because that's how well everything fits in together.
It was easy meeting her parents. Her parents took me in. They've taken me in with open arms from the very beginning, and I think my parents were the same way with her. It's weird how well she gets along with my little sister. Erin and I have a really close relationship, and they hit it off, like sisters. It was really easy for them. So it hadn't been all easy combining two big families, but we've worked through it, and it's been a lot of fun. And I fit together great in her family, and she fits great in our family.
I would like to thank Joseph for hanging out through all of the ups and downs of this great but stressful process that we decided to add more stress to in as many ways as possible. It's been hard, but I'm also feel blessed that we got to go through it together because it has definitely made us a closer couple and closer to not just each other, but the Lord, and to really realize all that that means to marry each other and how to deal with each other and how to deal with each other in stress. And I'm just thankful that we knew going into it that once we said we're getting married, and that's it. There's no question about how long that's going to last or if it's going to last. It's us for the next 50, 60, 80 years. And I thank you for that comfort, and I thank you for being the best man I could ever imagine through such a hard time. I'm not gonna cry because I'm so happy. And I can't wait to see you when we're getting married and to celebrate with all of our friends and family because I love you so much.
I think the future is, it's limitless. Chelsea and I both have big dreams. First of all, we want to have kids and raise a family and spend time with both of our families, but we also want to travel. We both of us love to have a lot of fun. We love to spend time with friends and family. I got a feeling that we're going to be spending a lot of time at the lake, going to be spending a lot of time at the ranch, and definitely going to have a lot of little kiddos before too long.
The future. We're going to get married in the future tomorrow, and he's going to pass the bar here in the next couple of months, and then our lives are just going to be, no big deal. We're going to be moved into a house by then, but it's probably going to get a little harder, I'm sure. We want to be here in San Antonio, so at least for a while, and we hope to have some babies here in San Antonio in the future. Number-wise, it ranges like 3 to basketball team, but we definitely want to have some kids while we're here in the South and close to water and close to being, places that once kids get old enough to have a good time, they will. So
Chelsea, I just want to tell you how much you mean to me and how much I love you and appreciate everything that you do and have done to make all this happen. I know I've been just crazy busy the last few months, and I've just nodded my head and told you to take care of everything, and I appreciate all you've done to make this happen.
I want to thank Mom and Dad for raising me to know when to give a little, when to take a little. This whole lifetime up until this point has made me who I am, and I have learned a lot through doing, and I thank them for allowing me to do and make mistakes and to learn the hard way. But I've also learned more from listening to you tell me your stories and how things worked for you guys. And most importantly, I want to thank y'all for being not just great parents, but being a wonderful husband and wife to each other, because I have learned that it's going to be hard and it's going to be amazing. And through both sides of it, you have to not just enjoy one or the other, but to enjoy them both, because you learn from all of them. And I know that my marriage will be based off of all the things that you've taught us, and I feel great about those things. And I can't thank you enough for being wonderful parents and a wonderful husband and wife to each other.
I want to thank my parents for all the support that they've given me and for the example that they've showed me. Sometimes it's been hard being the oldest and having to take all the flack for some of the things, but I appreciate all that y'all have done to push me and to make me strive to be the best that I can be, and to push me and set an example for me and help me find a person like Chelsea to marry and be with and love and support for the rest of my life. Thank y'all for everything that y'all did this weekend to help prepare and send out invitations and make guest lists and get the rehearsal dinner ready. It's just been awesome. Thanks for taking all this in stride. I know that Chelsea and I have threw a lot at you all at once, but Chelsea and I didn't have any hesitations in getting married and spending the rest of our lives together. And thank you all for supporting us and our relationship and our future. I love you both.